not giving him a chance. And there's a phrase there, to force the stop. And that has a particular relevance for martial training, in that people will stop attacking you for one of two reasons: because they've chosen to, or because they can't, because it's impossible for them to do so. People choose to stop because of fatigue, because of fear, because they've decided that the goal they want is no longer viable. But you can't control that. You can make it more likely, but you can't control the guy you're sparring with, or the guy you're contesting against will stop. You can, however, control by forcing him to stop. And we force to stop by shutting down the central nervous system, by knocking someone out, by putting so many holes in the bleed out, or by physically removing their ability to manipulate whatever tools they've got. Kind of biomechanical cutting type idea. If you look at a lot of the treatises and the texts and the sources, they show these things in place. They show techniques that are designed to force the stop. You know, the countercut that takes off the limb, followed by a blow to the head. You know? But you've got to train to do that forcing of the stop. If you train just to hit him once, that should sort him out. You know, he wants to be hit in the face again. Well, you get guys who'll just eat that. You know, I've experienced it. A situation happened to me. I've been training for 4 or 5 years in street-oriented self-defense, very effective stuff. I got into a situation with 2 guys, lined them up, did the guy perfectly, hit him, bang, just like I was taught to in class. And I hit this guy probably as hard as I've ever hit anyone. And I went, danced back with it, he couldn't fall over. And he didn't, he just laughed at me. And I lost my opportunity, I lost my decisiveness, I lost my aggression. I'd done what I should have done, but I didn't train to force the stop. You know, I reckoned that after I hit him once, he'd not want to fight me anymore. And that just made him more angry. And so it made my job doubly hard. So, train to force the stop. The saying that because if someone's worth hitting once, they're worth hitting once. And surprise. Now, this is last, although it's probably the first principle, is you prevent his ability to counter, to stop you doing what you want to do. Deception is vital. If you look at Fairbairn and his combative thinking, which kind of permeates a lot of military thinking nowadays in terms of hand-to-hand, he talked about artifice as being the first thing you work on, the trickery. Now that applies right the way through, from having a relaxed guard that leaves an opponent an opening. It's one of the key cornerstones of Vinny Lecat. Every single time he leaves an opening to welcome an attack, to being physically, to being visibly meek and mild prior to launching your attack, so it's a surprise. If you can deceive someone when you strike them, your strike will be that much more telling. And to remember that the only unfair fight is the fight you lose. Okay? And that doesn't matter if it's, you know, obviously if you're in the gym and you're training with your partners, you're going to play fair. But, you know, if he wants to think that you're a bit more tired than you are, and then you're able to suddenly come back a bit faster, then perfectly fair. Same thing. You know, the guy thinks that you're unarmed and all of a sudden you hit with an ashtray. It's perfectly fair. You didn't lose. And that really boils down to this quote, which is from Viscount Slim, who's one of the more successful generals in this century, the previous century. There's only one principle of war, and that's this: hit the other fellow as quickly as you can, as hard as you can, when it hurts him the most, when he isn't looking. That's all you have to do. But that is about bringing our aggression to bear. So, we talked about the various uses of aggression, how it can boil down to how it's used in other societies and other cultures. But effectively, for us as martial artists, having our aggression there and able to do this is what I think is key. Cooper's principles are a method to that. So, thank you very much for your kind attention. There's my contact details there. If you want to get in touch with me, I'll have these slides up on the web in a couple of days. There should be the video available as well. By all means, build on them. Let me know your thoughts now or later. Thank you for listening. Any questions? Comments? Heckles?
Who relates aggression with self-preservation?
Yes, very much so. I think it's self-preservation, and as an organism, as a species, or as we're talking about.
As an individual.
Sorry.
As an individual, who relates aggression and self-preservation?
I think so. I think there's ways of training and conditioning yourself. Dennis Martin, who's one of the main confidence instructors in the world, has this mnemonic way. He talks about turning fear into anger and pain into power, and he has this conditioning core speech that he uses. It's a kind of NLP programming thing, and that is his way of taking that negative emotion and rebounding it as aggression in their language. I think that's very Anyone for anyone?
Is there a conflict between the, you showed the Freud quote where he said that violence is inherent and aggression is in humans, and the fact that you have to train to actually begin
I think it's because of a conditioning as people not to be aggressive. You know, effectively, yes. Yeah. But you don't get by in life effectively by being aggressive, physically aggressive. You know, it's something that, for the vast majority of time, doesn't serve us very well. But for those times when you need it, you need to have it there available to you. But we are conditioned and taught to not be aggressive. And there's a really cool example of that from Sinking of the Titanic. And there's evidence that there were a larger percentage of British dead men than there were American dead men. Because the British men held back and said to the women and children, you go first, whereas the Americans said, fuck you, I'm getting on that lifeboat. They were more aggressive, arguably not in a way we'd want to encourage, but that aggression and that desire for their goal saved their lives. It was something that was valuable to them as individuals. Anything else? Yeah. Cool, thanks a lot, guys.